Before I say something, before I show you some of the pictures that I've taken in the last 4 years, let us take a deep breath together. The idea is, this moment, the breath that I took, that we took in together, is not coming back. Hence, it brings me to the core idea of being vulnerable, of realizing that every single thing we know is not permanent. So when I travel to countries from South America to North America, Europe, as far as Sri Lanka, I was never happy taking pictures in front of those monuments. But what I ended up doing was, I started collecting stories. Stories of vulnerability, stories where I could be myself. And I labeled all of those stories as my magical moments. It's 2018, I'm graduating in 30 days, and this is the perfect time because I, using the toolkit that I have, can slingshot myself into the practical world that waits for me. And it waits for all the students who are at this stage of graduation. This lady behind me, in her late 90s, was my magical moment from Brazil. What ended up happening was, January 16th, 2016, near Sultan Ahmed, I saw a guy moving up and about, couldn't find his way. And there I was, as I always do. Hey, can I help you? This idea of approaching people, of being vulnerable, took me to Brazil. A year later, since we met, I was in Brazil with his family, and later on had that magical moment with his grandmother. And that magical moment was just a coffee in the perfect weather, the perfect South American weather, and the perfect talk, which was about life, how we live, how scared we are, the people we meet daily in our lives. What do we do with them? The questions about life. Where are we going to go? What will we do? Or what work will we end up doing? All of these questions were questions that I put up to this old lady, to this old wise lady who helped me get up the ladder of life. And I, as always say, smiles never lie. This was me back in the village, another story from a village in Pakistan, where after climbing up a mountain for 13 hours, I was so tired that I couldn't even move. I was vulnerable. I was able to say to people, help me, because I'm literally going to die if you don't. And these villages, they took me in, and a day later, we were out in the sunshine celebrating. Now, the idea that I want to bring forward is, once you start living life, considering that it is not permanent, the moment that we have right now will not come back again, then life becomes so intense and so beautiful that you honestly would want to live it 1 second at a time, or as I say, 1 day at a time. The last 4 years have been intense. There was no single day which was not filled with a story. Stories just like any one of you. All stories have something. This was me constructing a school with a team of 40 individuals back in the mountains of northern Pakistan. And trust me, the feeling that you have once you complete a project for the people and not for yourself, once you understand that love is the only way forward, that loving yourself, loving the people around you, doing something for the people of the country is the way forward, then life changes. It changes for the better. You're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking for others. And in that way, you're making everything sweet. After 28 days of hard work with these very hands, me, with a group of individuals, ended up finishing this school. Now imagine, 2014 and it's 2018 now. All those years, those little girls who have graduated from this school in the next 10 years will be mothers. They will bring change. They will change this world one by one. But for that change to happen, some of us were willing to work. Some of us were willing to give away time for the right reason. Some of us were willing to live a day at a time. Some of us were willing to have those magical moments. We were ready to feel vulnerable. Close to 500 cities I've seen all around the world in the last 4 years. There is one thing I've learned. Once you open yourself up to another person, there is no difference. Everyone wants the same thing in life, and that is to be happy, to be satisfied, to be vulnerable. They want to be themselves. They don't want to be an individual who they are not. It's very hard when you look at this picture for the first time. And I asked myself, should I bring this up at this event today? But something inside me said yes. And all of the beautiful things in my life have happened only because I listened to myself. I listened to my inner voice. Every single one of you has that. This was a picture from Saudi Arabia. They were about to bury a guy. They were about to leave a soul with his final resting place. This looked like a bonfire at the first instance. I looked at this picture on my telephone, but this was a burial. This was a cemetery where people were being buried. All those people, even none of us have an idea when this beautiful life of ours will end. But the fact is, one day it will. Think of this as something very beautiful. And once you do that, life, your life, will change. I always say to all my friends and to all of you, fellow flowers, it's the way you look at the picture. We have two humans and two animals. God knows what they were talking about, but it must have been something very beautiful. After all, we are all beautiful in our own ways. Whatever we do in our daily lives, as Jim Carrey once said, the most beautiful currency that there is in the world is the impact you have on others. And once you realize that, you'll be peaceful. You'll be satisfied with your own being, which for me is the most important thing. You know, sometimes life has a very cruel way of getting things right. But before I go from this stage, I'll share a little story. So after we finished completing the school, 28 days of hard work, we were all so tired, and someone comes up to me and says, "Husain, how can you still have that smile on your face?" And I was like, wait a second. I pulled the goat right from the farm, and I was like, from today onwards, it's not only I who will smile. I'll make others smile as well. In this case, it was an animal. But Aren't we all animals? We all want to be happy. We all want to be satisfied with our very own soul. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. Whatever you do, move on. Keep on moving. There is one little thing, the last one. Sometimes we lose hope. Sometimes we do not know what to do. Life gets harder. Life gets sweet. Every day brings a new challenge. I always repeat this, always and always, that there will be a tomorrow. There is going to be another day. But if that day never comes for you, know and tell yourself that you lived. Thank you.